Man, it is gonna feel good to say this. Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast. Where today we're going over NFL Week 17, coming off a heater. I hope everyone enjoyed their holidays. I know there have not been a video up the last 2 weeks because of the holidays. However, please follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok. Business is a booming and our bets are a booming. Last week, week 16, 6 for 6 on the official picks, killing it. And we're looking to continue that momentum this week. So I know that I got a little bit of a Christmas gift. I'm getting every single pick correct. So we're looking to continue that streak. So let's take that heater right into week 17. We're gonna, as always, we're gonna start with either the Thursday game or the Bills, because that is our team here at Stats and Stacks. So we have the Bills as a minus 14 and a half favorite over the Atlanta Falcons. We have the Falcons, God, Bills game over under 44. Give me the over. And you know what? In all honesty, I know fantasy is over for most of you, so we're going to fixate on the betting itself. Honestly, that 14 and a half is too much. It is. I know in actuality, we should come out and the Bills steamroll bad teams. But the Falcons aren't a bad team. They're just not the greatest. They're still in the playoff hunt. Supposedly, we all know they're not going to make the playoffs, and at least they're there. They're relevant. But yeah, Cordell Patterson is an animal this year. I don't know what got into him. I don't know what performance enhancing drugs he took, but I need some because this dude is on one this year. So that is somewhere where you can beat the Bills and explosive run plays, and that's all Cordell Patterson does. Good thing as a Bills fan is that they have nothing to offer when it comes to the passing game. They have Kyle Pitts, but we are one of the best teams against the tight end position. And then their number one is like Russell Gage. So we are perfectly fine. The Bills will win, but I think Cordell Patterson is going to keep this game close enough to where I think 14 and a half is too much. I know it might have dropped down to 14 here, literally this, like today. I have not updated it since this morning. So we are going to see. But no, I think the pick is definitely the Bills. The bet would be for the Falcons to cover 14 and a half. But the bet I like more is the over 44. I think this is going to be not a shootout per se, but I could see the Dolphins, the Falcons scoring like 14 to 20 points and the Bills scoring like 30. I could see the score being like 30 to 20 or something weird like that. So give me the over. Next game, we have another lock here. We have the New York Giants going up against the Chicago Bears. Bears is minus 6-point favorites. Give me the Bears here. The Bears are definitely going to win this game. The Giants are just a shell of themselves. No Danny Dimes, no receivers. They don't have anything. I feel bad for the Giants this year. They're not an actual NFL team right now. So at that juncture, the Bears are a lot tougher. They're good. They need a quarterback. I understand they just drafted Justin Fields and he had some growing pains. Gonna happen. But the rest of the team is good enough to just dismantle the Giants. All they have to do is win by a touchdown and an extra point. And I think they do so, especially at home. So I know their secondary is reeling right now, but again, the Giants have no passing game whatsoever. They have no quarterback and no receivers. So their hurt secondary in Chicago doesn't matter. So give me the Bears. Give me the cover. Over under 37. Oh, that's tricky. I'll take the under, but I'm not really going to play that one at all because I could see Chicago winning like 27-3 or something like that. The under hits. But I'm not going to play around with that. I'm just going to take the Bears to just win outright, or to cover the spread. I'm sorry. Then the next game is one of my live dogs. I have the Kansas City Chiefs of -5 favorites going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Over under set at 51. I think this is a shootout. I think this is a shootout in Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati may come out on top, in all honesty. I know they're dealing with some COVID problems right now. we'll see. Things could change. They are subject to change, but I think plus 200 value, plus 200 money line is too much value for the Bengals. The Bengals are not a bad team. The Bengals, all they want, you don't know what defense is going to show up for the Bengals. They could come out and look like a Super Bowl team, or their defense could come out and look like the Giants. We don't know what's going to happen. Um, and at that juncture, Kansas City is someone that would probably bring out the bad Bengals defense, but you can't stop that offense. Kansas City's defense is not exactly the greatest in the world. I know they've stifled opponents to like 17 points the last few weeks, but that's not going to continue on the road against the Bengals. Too much firepower. I like the Bengals here at minus plus 5. I'll take the points, but I might bet them money line at plus 200. That's too much value. So the pick is going to be the Bengals. The bet is definitely the Bengals. And honestly, I don't hate the over here. I think this is going to be a shootout. And then that's followed up by the other one that we locked as a live dog here. We had the Dolphins as minus 3.5, underdogs going up, or plus 3.5 points. Underdogs going up against the Tennessee Titans here. I think the Dolphins are overrated. I think they've ran into the best. They've played their best teams when that team is at their worst. I think they are fully lucky. And I think the Titans are at their worst currently. A.J. Brown has not been practicing. Julio Jones is on the COVID IR list, as well as their tight end Frisker. Derrick Henry still not back from his ankle surgery. So, or Jones fracture on his foot. So they have literally nothing. The Titans are just decimated. The Dolphins defense is the only good unit they have. Their offense is not good. I know Jalen Waddle could potentially win Rookie of the Year. He's killing it, but it's more of like a targets guy, not really a ton of production. Tua's not the greatest, but he's just a manager. The run game is non-existent. The Dolphins offense is not good, but their defense is good. And the Titans have nothing to offer on offense. The Titans will not score more than 14 points this game. Tennessee Titans defense is not the greatest. They have a good pass rush, but that's all they have. So if Tua just does all these quick dink and dump passes to Gaskin and to Gesicki and to Waddle, or take the occasional shot to Parker, I think they have enough to cover, especially 3.5. That 0.5 is huge for me. So the pick is going to be the Dolphins. The bet is going to be the Dolphins. And I'd probably take the under. I think it's a very boring, close game. And I would take the under there, but definitely bet the Dolphins there. Then the next game is going to be an interesting one due to COVID. We have the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are currently, but the line is changing right now. I may not have one listed here because of the line changing. I legitimately do not. So at that juncture, we're going to see where the line ends up leading. I know Carson Wentz is out on the COVID list, but then they changed all the rules in just 5 days. So for vaccinated and unvaccinated, so we don't know if he's playing. But honestly, it's not like Carson Wentz is God's gift. It's really Jonathan Taylor against the Raiders, whether Wentz is there or not. I think he can do it by himself. Jonathan Taylor, he's that damn good this year. This is definitely the stay away game of the week. If gun to my head, I will take the just home team here in the Colts. Over under, definitely whatever the under is, I'm taking. And at that juncture, we're just going to kind of leave this game alone. I'd bet the Colts, whatever the line is. And I'll just, honestly, the only thing I would bet is the under here. Then the next game, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the New England Patriots. Patriots minus 15.5. Woo, over under set at 41.5. I don't know. 15.5 points is a lot of points for a Mac Jones offense. The Jaguars show up occasionally. I'll take the dogs here to cover. I think the Patriots win, but 15.5 is just too many points for me. I think the Patriots are a little overrated as well. They're a good team. They are a very good team, but they are 15.5 is a lot for someone that relies on defense. So I'll take the Jags to cover. Over under 41.5. I would probably lean the under. I unfortunately have a lot of unders this week, so we'll see. It may not be the most exciting week, most fantasy relevant week in the championships, but hey, it is what it is. So I'll take the under here, and I'll take the Jags to cover, baby. And then the next game, we had the Buccaneers and the Jets. I know I just said I was taking, it was 15.5 is too many points. but that's for the Patriots. Or the Bucks, it is not. I will take the Buccaneers here at minus 13. Over under set at 45.5. That's tricky. Eesh. I will take the over. I'll take the under. Give me the under for 45.5 there. But if I had to pick something and actually bet something, the pick are the Bucks, and I would just bet the Bucks to win by more than 2 touchdowns. Give me the minus 13 with the Bucks to cover. And then the next game, we had the Eagles going up against the Washington football team. We had the Eagles as minus 3 favorites. Over under set at 45.5. Washington still super depleted. Give me the Eagles to cover at minus 3. I think they're an overrated team as well, but I think Washington just has too many injuries to deal with currently. Over under 45. In division, I usually like to take the under. And I'll probably take the under here as well. The Eagles are so hit or miss with their offense. They seem to only have a half in them. You never know which half they're going to play. Irregardless, I don't see them going over 20 points, but I don't see them going over 25 points, and I have them winning. Math doesn't add up to where the over hits if they're going to cover the minus 3. So give me the Eagles, and I'll take the under. Next game, we have the Rams versus the Ravens, and this might be a massacre. The Ravens are 3.5-point dogs, and they should be. The Rams, God, I don't know who the quarterback is going to be for the Ravens, but I know who the quarterback is for LA, and that is Matthew Stafford. And I know the Ravens cannot stop deep passes to save their lives, and the Rams have 3 men that can go deep. They have Kupp, they have Odell, they have Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson is going to explode this week, in my opinion, so give me the Rams definitely to cover. Only 3.5. I don't care. They're on the road. Give it to me. Over under set at 46.5. I believe this is. I need my glasses. I'll probably take the over, especially if it's Lamar playing. The Ravens have a tendency to play these close games, and they usually come to around 45, 46 points. But the fact that the Rams have such good receivers and the Ravens have a really poor secondary, there's always confusion, and they allow these 50-yard bombs like 4 times a game. They can't help it, and the Rams are definitely the team to take care of that. So give me the Rams and give me the over, but definitely betting the Rams. Next game, we have the Broncos going up against the Chargers. Chargers minus 6.5 favorites. I'm not a fan of this. Over under set at 45 or 46. If it were the Teddy Bridgewater Broncos, I would definitely bet Broncos here. The Drew Lock Broncos gives me a little bit of hesitation. He is pretty turnover prone. I like the Chargers to win the game. I don't like them at 6.5. That part scares me, especially in division. If anything, if Austin Eckler, I don't even know if he's playing. Justin Jackson is definitely a serviceable backup, but God, I know Mike Williams came back from the COVID list. I just can't get that Bengals game out of my mind. Broncos Bengals, it was like 15-10. And honestly, I don't see a major difference between the Chargers and the Bengals. So I'll take the under here. I can't trust them to cover 6.5. So if I'm betting anything, it's the under 46, but I'm probably staying away from this game. I think it's a trap. And then the next game, we have the 49ers going up against the Texans. We have the 49ers as 12.5-point favorites. Not the biggest fan of that. Over under set at 44. The Texans have been playing teams tough, man. Davis Mills is shockingly not bad. I am not saying he's good by any means, but he can hold his own. But the 49ers have Debo, and Debo's losing his mind this year. So 12.5 is a lot of points, and it's Trey Lance. I don't know what Trey Lance is going to do. It's a lot of rookies. That's a lot of rookies going toe-to-toe. Give me the under. As a pick, I'll take the Texans to cover the 12.5. I think it's too much for Trey Lance. You don't. He's too much of a wild card. We haven't seen enough. We haven't seen enough of Trey Lance to trust 12.5. So give me the 49ers as a pick. The bet would be the Texans to cover, but I probably feel better with the under 44 with two rookie quarterbacks. Then that takes us to another dog play I'm feeling, baby. We got the Arizona Cardinals as 5.5 point underdogs going up against the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are good. I think the Cardinals are extreme. They're struggling with the run. I think the Cowboys defense is good. I think their run game is finally starting to get healthy. However, my gut is telling me Kyler explodes. My gut is telling me that the Cowboys' run game is not where it needs to be yet. It's not fully healthy, even though it's getting healthier. And I think 5.5 is too much going against the Cardinals. I know they've been in a slump, but my gut is telling me they're going to get out of this slump in a big way really, really soon. And it could be this week when everyone's sleeping on them. The Cowboys just won by like 50 points last week, so everyone's going to be on them. And I think that affected the spread. I think the original odds are like -2, -3 Cowboys. Now it's -5.5. And I think that's too many points against the Cardinals. So the pick is going to be the Cardinals. The bet's going to be the Cardinals. And the over-under set at 51. I can see the over here. I know 51's a big number. I usually don't bet overs on stuff like that, but I'm not going to bet the over, but I think that's what hits. But I might end up having a bet on the Cardinals, and I might take them just straight up money line because there's a lot of value there. It's like plus 180 or plus 190 or something like that. And I'll probably end up taking that. All right. And then the next game we have the Panthers versus the Saints. Who gives a fuck? Panthers 7-point dogs, over under set at 38.5. This is the worst game of the week. Taysom Hill should be back. Some of their linemen should be back. I'll pick the Saints. Do I want to bet the Saints at -7? Not particularly, but the Panthers have been atrocious with Cam Newton. But don't worry. They have Cam Newton. They have Sam Darnold. They have PJ Walker. All three are probably going to see action. But what they don't have is Christian McCaffrey. They don't have a healthy DJ Moore. So, and the Saints do have that phenomenal defense. I know that it's been struggling through the air. You can throw on this, you can pass on the Saints as of late. However, the Panthers cannot pass with Cam Newton or Darnold or PJ Walker. So I'll take the Saints as a bet. I'll take the Saints as the pick. The bet, I don't hate the under, even though it's really, really low at 38.5. I might still take the under there. And I guess the Saints cover, but I'm not touching that. There's not a shot I touch that. Next game, we have the Lions versus the Seahawks. I wanted to touch this game, but I do think it's a little bit of a trap. Seahawks -6.5. Over under set at 42.5. I do think the Seahawks are going to win. That is my official pick. The bet, a touchdown for the Seahawks. I don't know. The Lions play teams tough. It is in Seattle. I mean, if I, gun to my head, had to bet, I would take Seattle to cover the 6.5. But I'm not rushing out to do so. Over under 42.5. You run all over the Lions. The Seahawks don't have the greatest run game. Rashad Penny's obviously going to have himself a game. But I guess Lockett and Metcalf. I'll take the Seahawks to cover. I'll take the... Matt Ryan's not even going to, or Matt Ryan, well, Jared Goff, it's irrelevant. It's the same thing. It's interchangeable. I don't think Jared Goff is playing. I'll take the under 42.5, but I'll end up taking the Seahawks to cover a touchdown. All right, then Vikings Packers, don't hate it. Don't mind the Packers as -6.5 favorites because I'm going to go ahead and bet the Vikings. I bet the Vikings when they played earlier in the year, and the Vikings won. I bet Vikings money line +250, and they hit. This week, +240 Vikings money line with a team that they already beat. Give me the Vikings. Justin Jefferson ripped them a new one. I know Thielen is out, but KJ Osborne is serviceable. Dalvin Cook is here. I know Aaron Jones isn't there when they played last time, but AJ Dillon didn't do poorly. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So give me the Vikings to cover. Over under set at 47. Yeah, Vikings defense isn't the greatest. I think it's a shootout. I'll take the over there. But if I'm betting anything, it's just the Vikings to cover that 6.5. I think that's too many points for the Packers. All right, and then the last game, we have the Browns going up against the Steelers. We have the Steelers as 3-point dogs, and I will bet the Steelers here. I think that it is Big Ben's last game in Heinz Field. He's going to do everything he can. I think the Browns are overrated and reeling. They're having COVID and injury issues. I think the receiving core is god awful. So I really think you just have to stop Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt still being out. I will take the Steelers to cover here. I know that you can run all over the Steelers. They give up huge plays, but Chubb was going to get his irregardless. It doesn't matter. Let Chubb get his, but that Browns defense is struggling. That Browns passing game is struggling. They have a one-armed quarterback. They have no receivers, and I'll take the Steelers at plus 150 money line all day. They already beat them this year on the road. I think they can do it at home. And that is week 17. Again, make sure you follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok. Make sure we get this thing moving. And I appreciate the support. And again, 6 for 6 last week. Let's go 6 for 6 again, and let's get paid, baby. Let's get paid.